والصلاة وأتم التسليم. This lecture, which is the third lecture, we are going to tell you about the research proposal and what the things that are included in this research proposal, what are the things that you need to cover, and how does the research proposal look like. And this lecture you are going to know more about the process of making research proposals, and you are going to be inshallah familiar with it at the end of the lecture. So the purpose of this lecture is to familiarize you with the format of the proposal and to give you an idea about how research proposals are constructed. So we'll start by a definition of the research proposal. In this lecture we will tell you why should you present a research proposal and how to develop a research proposal, and at the end we will give you a suggested format for that research proposal. The terminologies that we have in the literature are so many regarding the research proposal. So you will have so many terminologies, or various terminologies are used to mean a research proposal, depending on why the research is carried out. So it depends on the purpose, depends on what you are going to do with your proposal. The name depends on the nature of the work that you are going to be doing, on the problem that you are going to investigate. So some people they call it research outline, some people they call it a plan of research, some people they call it research project, proposal, some people they call it thesis plan. All of these names together they mean one thing, which is a research proposal. It is briefly a plan of what you are going to do in future. It's something that you prepare in advance before producing a very large piece of work, or a very large piece of research that you are going to do later on. So this plan will help you to have a clear idea about what you are going to do in the future. Therefore, you should be working hard, you should exert more effort on it in order to produce a very good research proposal, which will help you later on, which will assist you to finish on time and to finish and to get your expected outcomes at the end of the proposal. So it's the purpose here, or the proposal, it details how the study will be completed in order to achieve the aims and objectives and address the research questions and problems. So you've got so many things to have in your proposal. You list them, you say what you are going to do, you identify the limitations that you are going to face. These are just expectations. These are not going to be true. They may not be true, and you may not face them at all, but you just expect. I'm going, for example, to have a shortage of participants, and the mortality rate, which is the participants who are not going to be interested in your study later on. For example, you've got a questionnaire and interview. So in the questionnaire, they filled out the questionnaire, but in the second stage, they said, "Well, no, I'm no longer interested in this study. So I want to leave." And they have the right to leave. By the way, they cannot be forced to continue with your study. So this is the aim of the proposal here. It is giving you a brief, or it's giving the reader or the supervisor who is going to read your proposal, it gives him a brief idea about what you are going to do and what is your plan, how you are going to approach this problem, how you are going to address it, what things you are going to use for it, how you are going to investigate it. These are the sort of things that are included in the proposal, and these are the sort of things that the proposal can do. Here we've got a question: why should you present a research proposal? Why should I have a research proposal? And we've got a number of points here. The research proposal is meant to convince your supervisor or department of the validity of your research project and that you have the ability and the work plan to complete it. Since it is yours, since you are going to do the research, you've got to prove to me that you are capable of doing it. You've got to prove to me that you are up to it, up to this task. Otherwise, I can't accept you as for example, a student under my supervision. You've got to prove to me that you are a good and you are a good student, and you are able to finish your project on time. And you've got to be realistic about it, that I'm going to do this and that, and you have to acknowledge the limitations of your research. So you need to convince your supervisor through writing, and sometimes you have to defend your proposal. You have to convince the supervisor that your research proposal is worthwhile accepting. It has to be accepted. It should be accepted, and your research, your problem can be researched, and you can have some outcomes of that research. And here the second point is that writing the research proposal gives you an opportunity to think through your project carefully and define what you exactly want to investigate. You need again to be clear about what is it that I'm going to look at, what is it that I'm going to investigate here, and what is my aim after getting this. So you need to give us exactly what you want to investigate. You state clearly that this is what I want to do. You don't leave it. You shouldn't write a paragraph 4 to 5 sentences and say, okay, yes, this is my problem. We didn't get it. You need to specify your problem. You need to state it clearly, and then you talk about it. Don't let us read between the lines in order to get what you mean. You need to clarify what you are going to investigate. The research proposal, the third point, can provide you with an outline that guides you through the research process. So it is like an outline here. It guides you. When you forget something, oh, okay, which things that I need to include? Is it the interview? Is it the for example, semi-structured? Is the interview semi-structured, or is it structured? Which type of questions? Are they open-ended or closed questions? So I need to go back to my proposal. My proposal works as a reminder for myself and for me. I need to go back to it whenever I need to have information about my research that I'm going to do in future. Number 4, it lets your supervisor and department know exactly what your research is going to be about and how you are going to do it. So again, you are clear here, should be clear. What is it that I'm going to do? What is it that I'm going to investigate? And how I'm going to do it. And these people, I mean the supervisors, are going to be happy once they know that you know what you are going to do. You know your your aims, you know your objectives, you know what things to achieve in future. The research projects helps the department to choose an appropriate supervisor based on the latter's specialization. So here we will, for example, this is this is something later on, but here you are forced to choose a supervisor. You've got to have this supervisor. But later on, writing a research proposal means that you will help the people in the department to select the appropriate supervisor. Say, well, this piece of work is related to X because he is doing, for example, linguistics. Oh, again, this piece of work is related to literature, so it should be to Y. He is very good in that field. He is an expert in that field. So I need to assign this task to him. And somebody else might be professional in translation. He's a professional translator. So we give him the translation, the proposal about translation, and he will be able to supervise you. So a proposal gives the instructors an idea about the problem that you are going to research, and will give the supervisors an idea about what is it that he is going to investigate. And we need here to help you how to develop that research proposal. You need to choose an appropriate topic. Choosing the appropriate topic is really important, and we mentioned that earlier. You need to narrow down the topic. You need to determine your objectives. What are the objectives that I'm going to achieve, that I want to achieve later on? What are my aims? And you need to formulate specific research questions for investigation. Your questions should be rewritten again and again until you crystallize your thoughts, until you get until you become very specific, until you know that, well, this question is going to answer the problem, and that question is addressing it in the way I wanted it to be. And you need it's going to be outlining the main literature in the topic area. What is it? Who are the people? Who are the people who are famous in this field? For example, in translation, in linguistics, I take Noam Chomsky, Del Himes, Henry Sweet, J.R. Firth, and so on. In literature, Shakespeare and his plays, Charles Dickens, whatever. And these people are really important. You need to know them. This will convince your supervisor that you are you have a solid background about your topic. You know who are the important figures in your field, and you decide on the methodology that it is suitable to the research question that is going to answer your problem, and you propose an approach to analyzing your data. Once you've got the research method, you decide how I'm going to analyze them. And the most important thing is that you develop a timeline. How long this will take me? Collecting the data. Is it 2 or 3 months? Is it 6 or 8 weeks, for example? So you need to decide how long it's going to be. You write this in the proposal. The proposal is going to work as a reminder, as I said later on, when you go and you start the longer or larger piece of work of research, you will need to go back to it and say, how long should I spend in this area, on this area? Developing a budget and resources you'll need. This is when you need the funding. When you write, I'm going to, for example, need money on this one. I need to travel. For example, I live in Riyadh. I need to go to Jeddah to collect data, so I need to travel. I need to stay at a hotel. I need to take a taxi. I need to go, for example, and buy some envelopes, some papers, some pens for the pencils for the participants to fill in my questionnaires and stuff like that. Developing a bibliography or list of references. It is important that you have a list of references. How did you compile this literature review? How did you come up with this information that you have? Either in literature review or any part you get your reference, you need to reference other people's work, otherwise it is plagiarism. You need to say, well, this is not my own idea, this is X's idea, this is Y's idea, so I got it from here, and this is the book, and this is the date. You put this in the list of references, but in the in-text citation you only put the author and the date. So we will teach you how to make references and how to develop them. We've got here a suggested format for the research proposal, and this is the format that we want you to follow all the way through. Please follow this step by step, and please include all of these criteria or points that we have here. Make sure that you have them all, because you remember in the assessment we said that each one will be given a mark. So and you need to be careful when writing your research proposal to include all of these points in your proposal. You've got the title of your research, table of contents, abstract, introduction, literature review, significance of research, research question, research methodology, ethical consideration, limitations of the study, expected results, references. We are going to talk about all of these inshallah later on in the coming lectures, but I'm here trying to stress that you need to have all of them. These have to be present in your proposal. We need to see them, otherwise you're going to lose marks, some marks. So we will tell you we have already told you how many marks you'll get in each point, and how we will teach you how to write, for example, an abstract, introduction, and what things to include in literature review, what is the significance of research, what is it, what is the ethical considerations, and stuff like that. This is the end of the this lecture about the research proposal, and I thank you very much for your for listening to this lecture, and we'll see you inshallah in the coming lecture. Thank you very much.